All right, welcome. I am Brian. This is the Wellness Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today, what we're going to talk about is this simple yet profound concept, question. You could call it catch 22. You could call it a paradox. You could call it, just a mind rabbit hole quandary, so to speak. But it is this: you are much more of a spiritual being having a physical experience than you are this physical being having what you would feel like is some otherly outside of your body spiritual experience from the physical plane. So, what do I mean by that? All right, it's just this simple concept that we can internalize and it will build a foundation for everything else as we grow through these layers of consciousness. And that's literally the key, is that we are consciousness and we're not here existing without consciousness. So when you start from consciousness and you start from zero, so to speak, you start from the ground level, you start from the base, then you can build a solid foundation on top of that. All right. So being a spiritual being reminds you that you aren't just your physical body. And in fact, your physical body is happening every single day, and it's a new experience every single day. It's a new person, quite literally. If you were to break it down on a scientific physiological level, there's a different generative group of cellular organisms working together, to create who you are. And the spirit, the common thread is the embodying presence throughout that four-dimensional version of you, where you go from a young state to an older state in one connective, degree, or a connective story, which is really what life is. That's why the archetype of time is what life is about. It's the experience of time through space and becoming separate from, at least in appearance, at least an illusion, from the rest of consciousness, of the universe, and of what we could think of as the beingness, the oneness, the omnipresence, omnipotence of God, of Jah, of all that is. And often we don't look at the root or the basics of these things enough. Just in a similar way, words themselves come from these sounds, these vibrations, and these vibrations come